Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tawana Rivers, CEO of the 10K Project, and we are here again for another Bet on Black pitch with another amazing Black founder. I want to introduce to you Kevin Blake Thomas with Tychon, and he is going to revolutionize the way we shop. And so I am going to start by showing you the campaign page, and then we'll jump in and turn it over to Kevin. Hope you all are doing well this evening. Pull up the campaign. Give me one moment. Of course, I had it teed up and it teed away.
That's all right. We know technology glitches us from time to time.
All right, perfect. So here is the campaign page. I'm gonna let you guys watch the video and do all of that on your own, but it is AI-powered personalization to your shopping experience, right? As we always talk about, looking at the entire campaign page. This is $1,000 minimum. It's a safe note. They're currently looking to raise $800,000. Look through all of the information. Here's the team. What a handsome bunch. You'll see all the contact information, FAQs, everything you need to know is here. And then anything else that is not here, you're always able to contact the founder to get additional information. All right. So with all of that said, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin. Let me stop sharing. We'll be putting the link in the chat for you throughout the evening, so you'll have that. All right. Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir. If you can introduce yourself to the 10K Project community and tell us all about Tychon.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tawana. I really appreciate the opportunity that you've presented here. And thank you again for being part of the 10K Project for this week's campaign. So again, pleasant good evening to everyone tuning in. Thank you very much. My name is Kevin Blake Thomas, co-founder and CEO at Tychon. Just a little fun fact, I'm actually calling in from the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago to be specific. Really excited about the opportunity, really excited to share a little bit about Tychon, what we have been doing, what we have been cooking up, and hopefully to chat with a few of you who may be excited about the opportunity as well. So I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get right into the pitch to get the good times rolling. So if I can just get a thumbs up confirmation that my screen is being shared. Awesome. Thank you very much. So everything about video has evolved. The way that we consume it, when we watch it, the devices we use. But the content itself, that hasn't evolved. It's still static, and it's all about a start, stop, pause type experience. So we've all been there. We've been watching a scene in a video unfold, seeing something that really catches our eyes, whether it's a handbag, a jacket, or maybe even a piece of furniture. And we just want to know more. We want to act on that impulse. But the moment passes, unfortunately, and we are left with curiosity that just fades as the story continues. Now, imagine this. You're watching a Netflix movie. There's a scene, you see a lady sitting in a luxurious hotel lounge enjoying a drink. And on the table in front of her is a stunning Chanel handbag. Instead of wondering where it's from, with Tychon, you can simply tap on the screen, you can tap on your device, and instantly you can begin exploring the product, learning about it, and the best part, even purchase it right there within the movie without ever leaving the experience. So you see, at Tychon, we are blending the real world and the digital one in a way that allows you to interact seamlessly between the two. We have built technology that embeds products into content, making it every moment that you see a touch point experience just for yourself. That's where shoppable experiences come about. So whether it's apparel, lifestyle products, or luxurious goods, every product placement that we do becomes an opportunity to discover and purchase. So this is Tychon. We are building the future of e-commerce, where curiosity becomes engagement and engagement turns into purchasing and sales. You see, brands use costly personalized ads to reach and grab consumer attention, but they often miss the mark on the conversion. Stats show that 97% of visitors are not buying immediately. And the real challenge behind all of that is turning that spark, that impulse, that moment of discovery into a sale. There are existing tools that are out there, but they deliver generic experiences that really don't sustain engagement. So what brands need is a seamless way to convert consumer interest into sales with personalized shopping experiences. So Tychon empowers brands to connect with consumers across every channel. We seamlessly integrate products into content everywhere online, transforming the shopping experience. So again, go back to that scene that I pictured in your mind about watching the next Netflix movies. That handbag product placement, we can put that into images, we can put that into videos, and we can do that across the internet. This approach turns initial interest into meaningful interactions that guides customers with personalized and relevant information. The future of shopping is here, and it's personalized, and it's everywhere. Now, let me take you a little bit into the magic of how all of this happens with Tychon. So imagine you are a shopper. In fact, imagine there are two shoppers, and they're browsing blogs, doing research about cosmetic products, and they stumble onto a blog where they see a lady's applying concealer. So there are three images in front of you. So let's take the leftmost image. That's the original image. That's the original video that's in action. They're capturing the attention of the consumer. But for shopper one, Tychon's AI is going to be able to update that visual content, showcasing an open lipstick. So that's the middle image. And the important thing here is that that lipstick is perfectly aligned with shoppers' one interest in cosmetics. Meanwhile, somewhere else, shopper number two, seeing the same visual content, our AI places an open face cream instead. So that's the rightmost image. And again, the important aspect here is that the placement of the open face cream is catering to that shopper's skincare needs. The key takeaway is that Tychon personalizes what each shopper sees in real time, making discovery uniquely relevant. Building on that story again about shopper one, the middle image that you saw with the lipstick, our AI is also tracking her interest level, what we call her intent. Is she ready to buy? Is she not ready to buy? And once we have determined that the shopper is at that point where they're ready to buy, and she clicks on the lipstick in the image, a streamlined checkout experience appears right there in the content. There's no app hopping, there's no frustration. It's just a smooth path to purchase. So what Tychon is really doing here, in really simple terms, is that it's guiding shopper one from the initial awareness, discovery of the product, learning more about it, understanding what's the store's return policies, things like that, if there are allergies, anything like that to be worried, to be concerned about. And more importantly, it's really adapting the experience for shopper one based on where they are in the buying process. And this is really the true power of Tychon, transforming every interaction into personalized, seamless shopping journeys. So in today's evolving marketplace, technology and consumer behavior converge to create unprecedented opportunities. And Tychon is at the forefront of that transformation. Social commerce is growing 5 times faster than traditional e-commerce, emphasizing the urgency for merchants, those are the folks that are selling these products, to adapt their strategies, adapt their customer acquisition approach. Tychon empowers these merchants to leverage that shift that is taking place very effectively. Gen Z. Gen Z is becoming the largest and the wealthiest generation, with spending power surging from 44 billion in just 2021 to 75 billion projected for 2025. They value authentic engagement, and Tychon is really going to help merchants connect through with these personalized shopping experiences. Additionally, we focus on data privacy. We talk about data leaks and things like that, and being in control of the data that you share. This is an exacerbating and growing troubling issue, and it has led to a 3x spike in data subject requests. And that simply means that you're reaching out to the brand, you're reaching out to the company who has your data, and you're asking for your data back in some form or fashion. Tychon is taking a first-party data approach that offers merchants a compliant way to engage with audiences, to engage with consumers. So with the rise of social commerce, Gen Z's spending power, and the importance of data privacy, we believe that now is the perfect time for Tychon to lead in transforming merchant consumer engagement and driving growth for all involved. Again, looking at the global e-commerce market space, it's really huge, it's vast. There are 26.5 million stores, e-commerce stores, just competing for consumer attention in this digital world. Tychon is going to be focused on the Shopify segment. And in Shopify, there's just under 1 million DTC, direct-to-consumer stores in the US who are focused in high-growth categories like apparel, food, and beverage. And the real exciting part about this is that Shopify stores, the number of stores are growing 59% year over year. And this is just the beginning. So our strategy is going to include expanding into other categories beyond the apparel and food and beverage. But beyond that, we'll also look to scale to other platforms. So it's not just going to be Shopify, but we'll extend into others, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, you name it. And then finally, the horizon is going to be expanding into global markets. So what does this really all say, and what does this really all mean? It means that as we grow, as we hit milestones, and as we become more successful, we're going to see an increase in our market size as we go. So a little bit about our journey so far today. It's really been about taking steps that yield real results, and each step builds on the last one, thus driving us forward. So we began building with a creator community to land our first set of paying customers. Techstars, the international accelerator, saw potential, and they invested into us at that particular milestone for 120K. Next, we were able to forge ahead, create some key partnerships, and today we are proud and happy and excited to say that we are recognized as a Shopify partner. And that milestone has been very strategic for us. That has allowed us to build a pipeline of 800 Shopify merchants, and that's worth approximately about $6 million today, right now. So today, where we are focused and where we're concentrated with our efforts is that we want to scale our creator network. The creators are the one that give us access to imagery, give us access to video. So we're using them as the launchpad to distribute and to reach consumers directly. So we want to grow that network to about 250 engaged creators, which means in turn we'll have access to at least 1 million to 3 million consumers. These are their followers. These are their loyal followers. And that's now going to help us begin unlocking and onboarding our merchants into the Tychon ecosystem, because we have a sizable network that is going to drive that value for them of distributing their content, reaching new audiences, and driving new sales for them. And then thereafter, our next step is really going to be focused on ramping up the partnerships, growing and working with digital agencies. So now we can start moving from 250 creators to 1 million creators, really getting to scale and getting to size and getting to mass to be a strong player in the market. So I talked about, and I mentioned our first set of paying customers. One of our customers is a leading wholesale bakery who's within regional wholesale bakery. And they chose to work with Tychon to help boost their sales at the end of the day. The ask of us was a simple one. They wanted to shoot for 10% sales boost year on year over a quarter. And we responded by helping them double that target within that 1 quarter period. So we hit the mark and we blew them out of the water, and they were able to achieve their business goals with this solution. And I think that was strong validation for us in terms of the solution, that it works and that it drives growth at the end of the day. So the business model behind this is simple. It's built on 3 prongs. So we generate revenue from these sources, from a SaaS subscription first, the inherent ad network that we are building, and then thirdly, sales commission. So walking each of them through, with the subscription, we offer a tiered subscription model that scales with the volume of monthly customer engagements. Think of emails, SMS, those marketing communications that go out to engage with customers and get them to take that next action. That's what I mean by that. And what this says is that it allows merchants to choose a plan that really suits their needs while ensuring predictable revenue for Tychon at the end of the day. Because the way that we are structuring the business is one that is going to be a really strong cash flow business with predictable revenue. And our subscription strategy is going to help us achieve that. The true value and the hidden gem behind Tychon is our ad network. So merchants are going to be utilizing our ad network for new reach and acquiring new customers. So similar today, just as how a merchant would use Google, or they would use social media to run ads, run campaigns, it works in the similar sense. So they would allocate a budget for the campaign to reach their target audiences. Tychon is going to retain 30% of the budget for our platform and our management and of the ad network as our fee, while the remaining 70% is distributed to our network of content creators and publishers, because effectively we are utilizing their assets, or we are renting their assets, the digital white space in the imagery, in the videos, to place products, that is embedding our product placements. And this model really maximizes the value of every dollar spent by merchants while connecting them with engaged audiences that they may not even have the budget to reach at any point in time, or it's very costly for them to do it, and it's going to take them a long time to be able to reach that. And then finally, the third prong is going to be on sales commissions. So we're going to take a 2.5% commission on gross GMV, gross merchandise value, for every sale that is attributed to Tychon. So going back to that example about the lady who you saw applying the concealer, if when shopper one clicked on that lipstick, completed the checkout process and made the purchase of the lipstick, that's a purchase that is attributable to Tychon, because the sale originated specifically from our product placement. So that's what I mean. And this aligns our success with that of merchants, really incentivizing us to drive on our promise, increasing conversions for them at the end of the day. Sorry, so you may be wondering, who else out there is doing something like this? And the honest truth is that no one is exactly doing what we're doing. They're parts and pieces of what we have built, what we are offering today to merchants that do exist. And we have listed these key competitors. But what's important to know here about that is their focus is really going to be on big brands. These are the Coca-Colas of the world, the Pepsis of the world. These are brands that have multi-million-dollar budgets, so they can run the costly campaigns. And these campaigns are typically going to be run on channels that are very expensive. So you're going to be running on broadcasting, so running on live streaming platforms and things like that. Our focus is a little bit different. We are taking a smarter route and a more strategic route, and that's focusing on the SMB segment of the market. SMB segment of the Shopify market represents just about 90 to 95% of the Shopify ecosystem. So we're going to see a lot of growth. We're going to see a lot of scale and a lot of acceleration. And our approach is one that is really centered around a self-service model, that these SMB businesses can discover us very easily, whether that's in the Shopify store or through our marketing engagements that we are doing. They can discover us, they can sign up, they can get onto the platform in a few seconds. And that's the idea. The self-discovery route, try the platform, maybe run it on a trial as part of the subscription offers that we have, get a taste for it, and get that immediate value without having to talk to a sales agent. Each of the other competitors require that human involvement. So your time to value is significantly longer. Also, what's key here is that I just want to point out Riff, that's the rightmost company that's listed on this table here. They are doing exactly what Tychon does, that we call virtual product placement, embedding a product into imagery, into videos. But where they fall short is that they're unable to take it one step further. They're unable to capture that interest and turn that into a purchase. So Tychon is uniquely positioned in the marketplace today as the only platform that is able to offer that seamless, end-to-end, personalized shopping experience. So for us, the time is now. We believe we have that first mover advantage, and that's what we're going to be building on to really differentiate ourselves and make some noise in the marketplace. So some additional strengths for us is that the way that we have structured the business is that it creates a self-reinforcing type ecosystem. And in really simple terms, the more content creators, the more publishers we bring, we get access to more consumers. And more consumers telling a merchant that we have a network of 20 million consumers that represent your demographic. That's a powerful statement. And that's going to create more demand for merchants, more customers signing up for us. And more customers using the platform means it's going to be lowering our total unit cost on our AI production. And that's where we're going to start seeing economies of scale and really being able to grow and benefit from the scaling factors and the levers that we're going to be pulling. But secondly, the element that really excites me is the one around our data strategy that we have taken. And this strategy is going to really keep merchants locked in. You see, they're not going to be able to leave Tychon without losing that valuable personalization data and insights. And the key and the power really sits in that data, because that data is going to say if your customer is your champion, is your loyal customer, or are they the one that needs another prompt to become that loyal customer? Or do you have 20% of your customer base who is at risk of leaving and never returning and purchasing products from you again? That data is what unlocks the true power for Tychon to determine what are the actions, how do we personalize the engagement, how do we speak to that segment of the customers to get them to feeling that love again, taking the positive steps in the right direction and making another purchase. So that's the element that really gets me excited about our self-reinforcing ecosystem. So we have talked a lot about technology and the transformation of e-commerce and how we're changing the way that folks are going to shop and consume content. But really and truly, it's not just technology, it's about the people driving that revolution. So I myself, I bring 18 plus years of e-commerce digital marketing expertise. My CRO brings 20 plus years in growth and sales. My CTO, our tech architect and wizard, he has 17 plus years in software innovation, building enterprise and scalable solutions, and that's exactly what we need. So we believe that we have the right team, the right mix of skills and talent and experience to deliver on this promise. And just a quick fun fact, we actually earned the UNWTO accolades for previous startup that we were building. So to get us to the next step, what we are looking to do is really accelerate our growth trajectory. So I spoke about building that creator network, really starting to onboard our creators, our new merchants from the pipeline. That next step is now putting us in this position of seeking to raise 800K to really accelerate those efforts. And that's going to be focused primarily on 3 key areas. So first is going to be scaling our AI platform. So it's going to be continuing doing R&D development and ensuring that we maintain that competitive advantage. We are leading in terms of that shoppable and personalized experience that no other provider is able to do today. So that's really going to enhance our ability to connect with brands, with high intent consumers, and ensure that they're enjoying the experience and everyone is getting value from it. Focus number 2 is going to be expanding our team. So really want to build a world-class team. And I think that's critical for us to be achieving our goals, because we're going to be doing some things that no one has ever done before. So we want the right players on the bus, really driving that sense of innovation, driving that sense of purpose and value that we define ourselves by. So it's going to help us to recruit and bring in top talent, especially in the AI and the engineering field, as well as in the marketing areas. And then finally, the third area is going to be optimizing our customer acquisition strategy. So right now, we have been able to identify a channel that gives us a unique advantage of acquiring merchants. That's why we're able to build to that 800 pipeline. But we also need other channels that is going to help us get sustained growth. So I talked about that self-service model. That's our next step in terms of customer acquisition channels that we want to establish and ensure that is giving us the return. We are acquiring customers at the right cost, etc. So we're going to be refining that outreach. We're going to be ensuring that we're able to attract the ideal Shopify store owner who can benefit the most from the Tychon value proposition. So like I said, so our ambition from that 800K is going to result in 350K in revenue over a 12-month period. That 800K, we're going to see that giving us an 18-month runway. And with that investment, we can really move quickly to secure these milestones and really solidify Tychon in the market and position us as the future of e-commerce. So this is a really unique opportunity to join us at a pivotal stage. So I would have spoken about earlier when we were looking at the market that there's a pathway of getting to $130 million ARR over the next 5 years. And what we're focused on is the key areas and the key levers that we need to pull to begin to help us expand them. And there are 3 key areas. So the first is expanding to new verticals. So I would have spoken about talking about apparel, food and beverage. Certainly we need to expand outside of those, but additionally, we need to be able to expand into areas such as live streaming, gaming, live sports. So we need to be where consumers are spending their time consuming digital content, visual content. And that's the reason for the choice of those verticals. Secondly, merchant expansion. So it's really going to be important to establish partnerships with the Squarespace, the WooCommerce of the world, to really broaden our reach behind Shopify. Yes, Shopify is certainly the market leader at this point in time in the US. But if we want to get that growth, we want to get to that critical mass, we need to be able to have this playbook repeatable and ensuring that we can do the same thing moving from Shopify into Squarespace, into WooCommerce. And then finally, new customer acquisition channels. So just wanted to imagine for a second when I say new customer acquisition channels. Today, you're familiar, you may be familiar about buying ads on Amazon and Google, but imagine you go to Amazon and Google and they are now featuring Tychon-powered shoppable visuals that you can use, that you can buy as ad spots to reach target audience. That's where we are thinking, that's where we are dreaming, and that's what we believe is going to help us really explode when we get to that stage in growth, because that's going to give us significant scale immediately on day one. That's going to be global reach that so many different types of advertisers can get their product positioned within our virtual product placements through our network and drive sales for them at the end of the day. So this isn't just a dream, but it's a clear roadmap on our playbook for success. So we've all heard the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, with Tychon, every picture is worth 1,000 sales. So I welcome investors of the 10K project to join us as we revolutionize the way people shop and experience content. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I want you to stay on this slide a moment, if you will. For the community members, now's the time to go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A. This slide is so chilling to me because I am looking at the before, right? And it's just an image. And now when I go to the after, you're going to be able to tailor this to the viewer. So it might be a watch here, right? Maybe it's, a very, very high end watch for some viewers. Maybe it's a mid-level luxury watch for others, right? And maybe it's just an everyday simple timepiece for just someone who they're not looking for style, they're just looking for function, right? Like you're going to be able to do this and make it a million different types of watches or something completely different. And that is going to be tailored to every single viewer that is looking at that particular image at any point in time. I want to make sure I got this right.
I could not have said that any better myself.
Okay. You are literally, like, we say this sometimes, right? You changing the game. We kind of hype people up and say that, but you are literally changing the game. You are changing the way people shop.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And going back to my opening statement, we're all familiar with video. We know how that has worked, and pretty much it's been a medium where the experience has been predefined for you. It's a sequential experience in the storytelling world. What we are fundamentally doing here for the consumers is that we are giving them the power to take that story in any direction that they would like. So essentially anything that you see in the video now is potentially an interactive opportunity for you to stop, be curious, ask questions, and get the answers that you want. And we have really positioned this capability to be focused on product and product discovery and purchasing. So that's our mantra and that's our focus.
Wonderful. All right, you can stop sharing. Let's get us bigger on the screen. I have a
Sure.
ton of questions I was jotting down, and as you got through the presentation, you started to answer them for me. So well done. As a result of that, I don't have as many questions.
All
Um,
right.
but I want to talk a little bit about the data, right? And I want to make sure I understand. And I work better when I can go through scenarios, right? So in this scenario, I am the small business, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I am selling just a beautiful jade box, right? Anybody who wants a beautiful jade box, my jade box is going to sit there where we saw that watch sitting, and that's the item that I'm going to be trying to sell.
Yeah.
It almost sounded like Tychon is the owner of that data. So all the people click on my jade box and buy it, right? Or keep it in their cart or watch it or whatever. They're interested, right?
Right.
When
Right.
you talked about the small business kind of staying with you, right? And the anticipation of them kind of being a lifelong customer, right? Because it's going to be too difficult for me to
Mhm.
try to find other people who love this box, right? Because I've already got this, maybe I've got 10,000 people here that already fell in love with the box. And I
Yeah.
don't want to lose those 10,000 people and try to acquire a new 10,000, right?
Yeah.
So can we talk about that a little bit? Because that made me think that the people that have already shown interest in purchasing or viewing, that
Mhm.
you are the keeper of that data and you're kind of aggregating the sales, right? Taking yours off the top and then sending me mine. And I don't necessarily know who those 10,000 people are. Did I understand that properly?
Right. So I'd say a little bit of yes and no.
Okay.
No from the perspective that it's the merchant's data at the end of the day, right? So
Okay.
let me just clarify that piece about sort of retaining each of T-Con's customer for as a lifetime customer. So it's not a case that you're being forced to stay with us or anything like that. It's a case that we are the ones that are collecting the data on your behalf. These are
Mhm.
going to be potential customers of yours. We are following the rules, we are following the protocols of how we gather data. Customers have the right to either opt in or not. They say, no, thanks, I don't want to share this information with you. Yes, I'm okay sharing with you. That's what I mean by us following the rules and the protocol. And that information certainly sits in a Tychon, let's call it vault, where it gets processed at the end of the day. That's fine.
Okay.
But that information, we present that information to the merchant. So our product how the merchants interact with it. It's a Shopify app. So in really simple terms, you go into your Shopify admin to manage your store. There's a section that says Tychon. Boom, you see all the wonderful stuff that Tychon has to offer you. And in there, we present who these persons are. Because I spoke about in the journey, providing personalized engagements along the way. Not everyone is going to make that immediate purchase, but what's imperative is that the store is still taking an active role in the process to reach out to these opportunities, reach out to these leads, as it were, and say, hey, we have this offer for you. We saw that you checked this out. You even added it to your cart, but you didn't complete the purchase. For the next 30 minutes, you're going to get a 25% off deal specifically for you. And then you convert them to a customer if they decide to make that purchase at the end of the day. So that's how we use the data. We make it available to the merchant that they can now actively take a marketing approach, a marketing strategy, and a marketing tactic to help get there. And certainly Tychon assists in that. We provide best practices. We have some journeys that are already predefined for you. So you can just come, click, set up, and the engine is going to run without you doing anything. And then taking it next level, you bring your authenticity, your values as a store owner, and you can customize that going forward. So that's what I mean by we don't hold on to that. We know the power of that. The second part of it is if you do decide to leave, there is an opportunity for you to get access to that data. But the trick with that is, what do you do with that now? You know, if somebody just pours liquid oil into your hand today, immediately, can you turn that into a million bucks?
Not without somebody's help,
that needs to go through. So that's what I mean by that. It's going to be difficult for them to do that on their own. So that creates barriers of entry, protecting against competitors coming in and things like that. So that's what I mean by data lock-in.
Okay, very good. That's very helpful. Thank you for that. Okay, then you talked about your second revenue generator is the ad revenue, right? That ad network. So, and Talisha, help me, because I think this is a good connection area. Help me with the remembering the name of the founder that has the diverse images.
Pockstock?
PSC. Yes, Pockstock. Okay. So when I go back to the image of the watch, right, sitting on the little journals, that image came from somewhere. I imagine that the network of the content creator, right, that created that image originally is someone you want to be in business with. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a company called Pockstock, and they have diverse images, right? All of those stock photos and all of that stuff, right? They create those and source those and create some from scratch for diverse imagery, because there's a hard time finding diverse imagery out there.
Yes.
So we'll make those connections. I'll make that introduction to you this evening.
Awesome.
Because I think that's someone good that you can talk to. But also just when I think about social media today, all of the amazing imagery we see, right? The people on the internet are so creative. Those people now can make a portion of revenue partnering with you, right?
Yes.
So not only are you helping the merchants, right? You're allowing the consumer to have a much better personalized experience, but you're also now adding to that content creator industry that is booming, right? Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. How are you going to acquire those content creators?
Yeah, so really, really great observation there. So Tychon isn't just focused on the merchants. We believe that what's really powering us here is the efforts of the creator economy. And when we look at the creator economy, content creators are actually taking a beating in terms of monetization opportunities. We know the big networks, they're holding 60%, 70%, 80%. They're getting pennies on the dollar for the content that they're creating. So for us, we're trying to flip the script on that. So that's why I said for our ad network, we are taking 30% and 70% is going back to the creator community. So the value proposition that we are offering to creator community is that we are giving you another avenue for monetizing your existing and
Right.
future content catalog that you're going to be developing. The best way to describe it is some folks may be familiar with Google AdSense. Google AdSense is really a network of publishers, creators, people who have had blogs, etc. And you get paid for ads being placed on your website. The thing about that is that's clunky, that's messy, it gets ugly after a while and things like that. And the ads don't always align and it can spiral into a headache. Where it's different for us is certainly the channels that creators own are different today. But the most important thing is that we remain authentic and ensuring that there's alignment between the content and the product that is being placed. So let me just walk through a scenario for how a product actually ends up into a video or into an image that is owned by the content creator. So everything starts with the merchant. They have realized, okay, I'm preparing to go into, this is Q4, this is holiday season. I need to start pushing some campaigns to promote my products. So you set up a campaign, you identify females in the age group 25 to 34 in the New York area. These are the people that you want to reach. So you list all of the demographics, the specificity of your target audience. You identify the product that you'd want to promote, and they identify how much they're willing to spend at the end of the day. So that information, we capture that and campaign gets kicked off. But just before it goes live, what happens is that we have technology, AI, think of it as matching a merchant or creator. We want to ensure that one, the creators that get selected have the right target audience that the merchant is looking for. So it's not a case that every creator is going to be applicable for a given campaign. That's one. And then two, what I think is most important is that the creator has veto power. They can say, yes, I would take this opportunity and participate, or no, I may not. And the reason why we're saying that is, even though there isn't a direct relationship between the two, there may be an instance where a creator feels that promoting that brand doesn't align to my values. So that's why I mean that they can opt in and they can opt out. So the creator is still in control. If they do decide to proceed with it, again, some magic happens with technology. Once they say yes, our technology takes their visual content, does the placement in it so that when a consumer comes today, they see the product placement. But when they were there yesterday, they didn't see it. So just as how ads on social media have a start date and an end date, it's the same thing with the virtual product placements. The duration of the campaign, it's visible. But outside of that window, it's the original piece of visual content that is taking place there. So again, I like to think of it as they're investing in a stock. It's a hold, it's a buy and hold type approach that you're doing. And every month you get a little dividend check that comes from Tychon saying thank you very much. Because as I described it before, we are renting digital white space in their visual content. We are borrowing access to their consumers, their followers. So really, truly, they have done all the hard work. So they need to be paid for this at the end of the day.
Right.
That's how we look at the creator community and how we are contributing to growing that from 16.6 billion straight up to the sky.
Wow. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to get to your questions in a moment. Keep putting them in the Q&A. I got a couple more. When I think about small businesses, so look, I'm looking in the participants list right now, and I see Miss Vanessa's out there. And Vanessa is a small business owner, right? And I'm thinking about how she can benefit from using Tychon, right? And so she reaches out to you because she wants to be a merchant. She pays the $99 monthly subscription, right? You guys meet, talk about, tell me what that process looks like for any small business within this network that's watching that is interested in not just investing, but also being a part of the merchant network.
Right, being a potential customer there. So I definitely like that question. So like I said, everything starts and is centered around the merchant at the end of the day. They are the ones that is driving the business. They have their aspirations that they want to achieve. Maybe you want to spend more time with your kids and things like that. We believe this is a step in the direction that we can help the business grow. Obviously, it's going to be Tychon plus a few different things that you're utilizing, but we are part of the process to help you grow, achieve those goals. So you unlock time for yourself. So like I said, it's free to sign up. It's free to access. we distribute our solution as a Shopify app. So it's either going to the Tychon website, or if you're familiar with Shopify, you can find us in the Shopify app. It's just as how you would install an app on your phone. It's the same experience with installing an app in your Shopify store. Once that's there, the subscription is focused on helping you retain or regain lost revenue, right? Specifically, that's the service that it's delivering. And what do I mean by that? That's where the data comes in. So one of the first things that's going to happen is that we're going to start examining, understanding your data. We are going to do some scientific processing and segment your audience to understand what categories that your audience fit in. And we have pre-designed marketing engagement, automated marketing engagement tactics for each of those segments. So again, out of the box, utilizing the service, you get value without even tapping into the ad network, doing ad spends and things like that. So that's what the $99 a month is just doing. It's a continuous engine. Think of it as setting a goal. All right, we want to move customers who are at risk. We want to bring them into the promising category as an example. That's a goal. We want to move 10% of them. Week on week, we're tracking that. Is it working? Do we need to adjust along the way? That's what the service does.
Right.
The second area that you pay for, that's the ad network. So it's not a case that you're paying $99 and then you have to pay the ad network. You could just strictly run on that $99 a month and utilize that to ensure that you're not losing customers and you're turning your existing customers into loyal customers. The ad network is focused on top of funnel activities, right? That subscription is bottom of funnel activities. So the top of funnel activities is going to be customer acquisition and getting them to convert and getting them to be a first-time customer for you. So that ad network is focused around reaching new audiences that meet your target audience, doing the prompting, doing the nurturing, that automated experience wherever they go. So the idea is that Tychon tries to follow you on your digital journey, not a creepy way, but respecting, okay, please stop, those kind of things. We respect those things. But what's important to note here is that messaging that takes place, it's not a Tychon branded messaging. It's the merchant messaging. So we, as the face, we're just the technology making this happen for you at the end of the day, right? And then the sales commission, that is a performance fee. So only when sales take place does that happen. So subscription, bottom of funnel, ad network, top of funnel, and commission, performance fee.
And so how does the ad spend at Tychon compare to, I don't know, let's say ad spend on other social sites that shall remain nameless?
Great question. So typically for display network, we're talking Google here now, CPM rate, that's an industry standard cost per every 1,000 impressions. You're probably going to pay somewhere in the vicinity of 5 to 7. Taking social media and everyone into consideration, it can vary maybe from 3 to 12, depending on the platform that you're on. With Tychon, out of the gate, how we are starting and how we are designing our algorithms, we are looking to keep you in the CPM rate of 125 to about $3. So you're already getting a discount in terms of comparatively, it's more cost effective.
Right.
Really simple at the end of the day. I don't want to go into the math, but it's really,
right. No, when you say 3 to 12 and then say 125 to 3, math is math. I get it. That is wonderful. Because oftentimes that ad spend is the deterrent, right? I mean, that's why small businesses oftentimes can't scale and get the customer acquisition because they just can't afford to market, right? And maybe get to the target market, maybe not, right? Because it's a crapshoot if they don't even have the skill set to do that part of it right. But you're helping with all of that.
Correct. So I don't know if you've seen some of the recent headlines around digital advertising practices, specifically from Google. Yes. Very large player, effectively calling it a monopoly in this space. They have been able to do things like price controlling and increasing their prices and things like that, which has contributed to a 222% in increase in customer acquisition over the past 8 years and things like that. We are trying to make some corrections around that. So our approach to keep that CPM rate in that window, that's an intentional action on our side. We believe that is going to help us drive volume of customers who are seeing that Tychon is going to be a more cost-effective channel for advertising at the end of the day, which is where we're going to get the growth at the end of the day.
I love it. For anyone who is a small business, small to mid-sized business, you need to be reaching out. This could be a game changer for your business. I think about businesses that close prematurely every day because they just can't get the traction they're looking for. You are a solution for that. So I love that tonight we're not just hearing a presentation for potential investors, but we are an investor and an entrepreneur community. This could be a
Yeah.
game changer for the entrepreneur side of the house with 10K Project. So I'm super excited about this for the community members.
You're so spot on with that because as part of this fundraising effort that we're going through right now, we have actually spoken to a few investors who actually saw that immediately as well. So there's this investor who has some strong interest. What is going to seal the deal for them is that they want us to work with one of their digital agencies that they run. One of the leading digital agencies in Jamaica, actually. So we're doing a pilot. And in any direction, we believe this is going to be a win-win for us, whether it's investing, whether it's the strategic partner, because they do see the value for it. They do see digital advertising changing and transforming. And it really creates this sense of, I can wear two hats. I'm the investor hat, I'm this customer hat. So sort of double dipping, but benefiting in a meaningful way.
Yeah, very, very good. Okay, let's hear what the people have to say, Kevin.
Sure.
Rain says, hello, Kevin. Thank you for your presentation. What part of your technology or what part of the technology you're doing is proprietary?
Right. So good question. So if you think about it, there are a few different layers that are there. So the first is going to be the actual ability to do the embedding, the product placement into imagery and video. So we have built that custom platform that allows us to do that. Then secondly, it's the technology that does the analyzing and determining what is the action from an engagement standpoint, the outreach type of messaging that would work well. That's another opportunity that we are exploring. So from those two critical areas, we are looking at getting to provisional patterns for them. We're not just there yet at that point in time, but that's where the proprietary technology is going to sit focused on those two capabilities.
Very good. Thank you for that. Kim says, good evening. How are the products chosen? Will the consumer only see what they've researched? That's a very good question, Kim. So I'm scrolling, right? I'm scrolling and I'm seeing a million things. Maybe I click on a few things a month ago, right? Are you capturing that somehow, or how do you get that product in front of me that you believe I need and I can't live without?
Yeah, amazing question. So let me give an example of a company that had that exact same problem that we're addressing. Netflix. So the first time that you join Netflix, Netflix doesn't really know what you like, what your preferences are. But if they had a sense of who you are, where you're based, things like that, they can look to the existing customer base to get a sense of maybe raising the bar, being 30% accurate to maybe 50% accurate. So it's a similar approach like that. In Tychon's context, where we start is we start with the existing customer base. So like I said, a merchant signs up with us. One of the first things that we do, we try to understand their audience. So immediately, if you have a customer base of, let's say, 10,000, that's potentially 10,000 people that we can immediately know really well today, starting right now.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to use your ad network, the idea is creating a lookalike audience. That's something that happens in social media and things like that, to find people that meet these parameters. And that's how we infer. But as you interact now as a consumer with what's placed, yes, there's an opportunity that it may be off, but we will learn from that as we get behaviors from you, the clicking, the interaction, the movement, the dismissing, not interacting with it at all, and things like that. We call those micro behaviors, and that's what helps us refine and get to that stage of being 100% spot on. So that's a good question.
Oh, that's a very good question. Jessica says, any plans to provide access to merchants outside of Shopify? So we saw the 5-year plan where you'll go to, gamers and sports and right, and you'll get in front of that and what was it? Sports game or live streaming. It was live
Streaming, yeah.
streaming, gaming, and sports. So let's talk about that a little bit. But what else is there outside of Shopify if you're not gonna go for those big advertising dollars, right? The people, those merchants that do the NFL, right, on Super Bowl Sunday. Like you're not going after that audience. So what audience will you target?
Right. So today, out of the gate, we are positioned specifically for Shopify. That's a strategic direction that we have taken because when we initially launched, we took the approach that we should work with every e-commerce store that's out there. In engaging with customers, things like that, we have realized quickly it divided our ability to serve customers very high quality standard. Lots of different integrations that needed to be done. So there was upfront work. Essentially, there's lead time before you can get to value using the product and things like that. And then each customer started to look a little bit different. So took a step back, reevaluated, and said, you know what? Every customer needs to be the same. We need to have a repeatable process today. Let's identify, this term niche down, niche down, niche down. Let's find a platform that could serve as our anchor platform that gives us repeatability in the process. And once we understand how that works perfectly, we can then move from Shopify to another platform. So today we only work with Shopify stores to answer that question. On that 5-year journey, probably around end of year 2, year 3, that's when we'll probably start looking meaningfully at expanding out from Shopify. I think there's going to be a lot of learnings. There's going to be a lot of growth. And more importantly, the product is going to significantly mature by that point. So then what the focus is going to be instead of innovate, and extend on product capabilities, scale at that point in time. And then that takes us to the 5-year plan, probably around year 4, year 5. That's where we are certainly going to be looking at meaningfully jumping into those other verticals. So now what does that mean? That means that you could reach consumers on, let's say, blogs, imageries, videos, your standard platforms. Now you can extend that out now to social platforms, such that where live streaming is taking place, brands could be placed there immediately. Platforms like Twitch, as an example, where gamers are spending their time, or maybe on the PS4, the Xbox, we'll be able to do product placements in those games. So instead of maybe a direct checkout, what's going to happen on those platforms is be a little different. Since it's digital, since it's immersive already, maybe there's an immersive experience that is separated from the game. So I spoke about experiences being sequential. That's a continuation of the analogy. You step out of the game and you go down this part. Maybe you're looking at the watches that we were talking about, looking at the handbags, those sort of things, or any sort of digital assets that may have replicas in the real life, as an example. That's how we see that happening. And then, well, ultimately, I like to say that the holy grail for us would be Super Bowl. So instead of seeing those 30-second clips, maybe it's exclusively focused on feel in gameplay, things like that. But now between plays, there's opportunity for placement, whether it's a placement of, I don't know, make a watch on Patrick Mahomes' hand that is happening. That's the kind of opportunity that opens up new ad inventory. And as a consumer, you're watching it through your connected TV experience. You can take your diversion from gameplay and explore these products that are taking place there. So you're spending more time, interacting more time, and it changes the way that you look at ads now for Super Bowl at the end of the day.
Wonderful. I love this. As you're talking, my wheels are spinning. Like I'm thinking of all the merchants that we've helped, or the founders that have products that we've helped raise capital for, and now they're out there selling their products. Like I want to make those introductions as well. Like I can see them being able to scale and grow and just really have some really exceptional growth by
Yeah.
partnering with Tychon. Jesse says, please clarify ages of Gen Zers and Gen Y and their primary source of money. So their ages, Gen Zs are 12 to 27, I think now. And
Yeah.
then Gen Ys are like 25 to 40 now.
Yep, something
Um,
about, yeah.
something like that. Now, I don't know how
Yeah.
they make their money. I know they got a lot of it to be so
Yeah.
young, but I don't know how they all make them. Most of them make it, right, probably through that social being content creators.
Yeah, correct. So I think there are a few different sources where actual wealth, money, access to disposable income, all of those things where they acquire that. But really it's looking at the trends indicating where these Gen Zs are spending, how much they are spending. They're actually the largest generation now in all time. So it's showing an indication of volume. They're the first digital native. They understand all of these things. So they're the ones that are driving their shift, driving new consumer habits and behaviors. And it's really being able to capitalize on them, meeting them where they are, delivering experiences that they like. That's the focus for us at the end of the day. So that's why when we talk about social commerce growing 5 times faster than traditional e-commerce, they are a major contributor to that today now.
Yeah, my mind goes to how this is disruptive in a good way.
Yeah.
And then also it goes to how this could be disruptive in a not so good way. And what I think it's going to do is it's going to force businesses to have this digital twin model, right? They're going to have a digital footprint. The brick and mortar store can still exist because there are still people that always need to go in and touch it and feel it.
Yeah.
But they need to have something side by side for that person that just wants to touch the screen and click there.
Of
So
course.
it really is going to force some of these businesses, especially the mom and pop shops, right, that have been functioning a certain type of way for years, to really step outside of their box and
Hmm.
come into the digital space and really
Correct.
embrace it. So I do love also how it's based on how you described it. You really handhold them and give them the white glove treatment as they're coming through the process as one of your customers as merchants. So I really
Exactly.
love that you're going to work with them and help them kind of understand all of this. Because for many, it's almost going to be, they're going to be forced to be a part of a network like yours in order to survive
Yeah.
as this takes
Yeah.
off.
And I think as we continue to evolve what technology looks like, our adoption and our use, I think you mentioned the point about potentially innovating or disrupting potentially bad. I actually think there is that aspect of what happens in store. I think that demand and that experience potentially is going to radically change because you're going to have a certain type of experience in the digital world, and you want to ensure that as a brand, you provide some level of consistency across the board.
Mhm.
So I think where that opportunity now creates is being more human centric, ensuring that your relationships are possible, the type of customer service that you're delivering at the end of the day, the things that digital cannot do uh,
Right.
in the real world right there in the moment. I think that is going to significantly see as a bar raiser at the end of the day.
Very, very good. Talisha's daughter is a gamer, and she says she sees this for those Twitch users, especially the associates to promote their merchandise and promoted products. She said her daughter would love this.
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
very, very.
Um, so I think that's an interesting point because I've kept saying the phrase that it all starts with the merchant, but in that use case, I think that's an opportunity. Let's start with the creator. What are the needs that the creators may have?
Mhm.
What relationships that they have? They may be new into the game. They don't have access to really distribute and showcase to help boost sales, business development, and marketing. This now serves as an opportunity, as a launch pad for them to have a channel to do things like that.
Yeah. And Kim was just making an observation that some of the younger generations stay home and spend their income as disposable because it's their parents that are funding the household. I ain't even mad at that, Kim, right?
And underscore that enough, right?
I am not mad at that. However, they can do it. They are definitely going to be driving these sales, and maybe they'll take the parents on the journey with them, right? And help them understand how things are going to kind of unfold in this digital space, even more so than it is now.
Right.
Jesse says, is this service a form of product placement upon consignment?
So not in its current vision. So it's not really set up and structured in that way. As we have more conversations with different type of merchants, different types of products, I think that's where we're going to get the learnings and understand what is going to work, what's going to work, if it's going to work well, what's the demand behind it at the end of the day. Because it's not a case right now, it's a case that we don't want to put too many eggs in one, across multiple different baskets. We need to be really focused, really prove the value proposition, show that consistently we are doing, let's just throwing out a random number now, being able to achieve a 28% increase for brands at a minimum out of the gate, and really delivering on that promise at the end of the day. I think that's the key focus in its basic vision. But then the doors open to possibilities in terms of specific unique needs and new use cases that we haven't even thought about today just yet.
Wow, wonderful. So Bernard's question is a good one. We've been talking a lot about products, right? Physical things that they can see placed somewhere. But what about services? So Bernard says, he says he owns a travel agency, and if Tychon as a customer, right, how will they help his business with obtaining real leads or booking trips against fraudulent bookings, since Tychon is more geared towards AI response to campaigns? So how could you help service-based industries?
Right. So yeah, that's a question that's come up a few times. And yeah, certainly we're focused on product-based businesses. But I think there's an opportunity there for service-based businesses as well, from the perspective of if you think about it, we can put anything into the video, into the image at the end of the day. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be that product. It could be the brand. It could be something, maybe there's an experience that speaks to your brand at the end of the day. Position the name, things like that. So in a travel sense, maybe someone is doing something with their phone, and you're actually seeing the screen very clearly. Do that placement there for it. Additionally, I think what the most important part of it is, regardless of how we frame the storytelling to capture your attention, what is the action that the user is going to take? And right now, it's really centered around information and checkout. So if we focus on the checkout, you're completing a form, you're providing information, you're hitting a button to say submit and purchase. That can turn into a lead form at the end of the day. I have expressed interest. It's Kevin. This is my email. I'm interested in this particular package. I submit that, and then the agency gets this, boop, 10 new leads from Tychon. Take it from there. Do your outreach, do your engagement, and start the conversation. So that's really just a knee-jerk thought of how those things can work. But I think what's going to be important is that we can continue that sense of tailoring, that sense of personalization, so that there is that excitement about the trip that you're taking that is happening right there. I think that's what we'd want to be able to unlock and map out in a case like that.
This could be an opportunity also where the content creator is customizing that content for you. Exactly, right? So I see for Bernard, right, it's all about the trip, right? So I want to see myself in that trip, right? So whatever that image is, I want to see myself there. So let's say it's I don't know, it's an image of a beautiful resort in Bali, right? And it's Bernard's logo somewhere in that scene, but we see a very clear scene, but Bernard's logo is there somewhere, and it's you know, I don't know if when you go to the mall and it says you are here, right, on the little directory, I can see like a you are here, right? They click that, it opens up to some extent like Bernard's, travel database, right? All the places that he can send them where they can see themselves in that imagery. Like there's got to be a way. I think there's more to explore with the service, because there are a lot of people that just have, I think about, again, in our community, and even, right, 10K is a service industry or a service business. We don't have a physical product, right? But like, so for companies like us, how do we create the content that attracts the attention we needed to attract? Because we're not going to have the shiny watch to show. So we've got to make them see themselves in a different way. And you may not get that with images that are already out there, already curated, or they need to customize some.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a great question.
So kind of going back to the point around, I think you said Kim, her daughter, is a gamer, potentially promoting the product. thinking of it from the creator first. Again, now you have shown that there's another opportunity. If with a creator first mentality, new experiences could be uncovered. It allows to change the dynamic and the relationship between Tychon and the creator, because right now they're technically hands off, so to speak,
Right.
because we are utilizing existing content. But
Mm-hmm.
it's now they can be more involved, more part of the creative process, have a direct relationship with the brand, tailor specific content to meet those needs, deliver that experience. And they have created additional value now at the end of the day.
Yeah. This thing just keeps getting bigger and bigger, Kevin.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Vanessa says, what happens if the business doesn't see an increase? So
Right.
if the merchant
So
doesn't see
that's a
the
good question. Yeah. So it's really going to be centered around um how we look and we identify with the customers at the end of the day. So like I said, the starting point really is focusing on your bottom of the funnel, your existing customers. How can you help and ensure and promote that there's there's increased repeat purchases and things like that, before we even go into the advertising at the end of the day. Um, as with any large network that they would tell you, certainly there is never any guarantee. That's not a path that I would like to go, because at the end of the day, we really purpose driven. We want to ensure that we are creating value for our merchants at the end of the day. And I think we'd more so see some of that potential challenge, increases maybe small or there is no increase during the early days. When we get to a significant size and scale, that problem is no longer part of the conversation, because we have hit critical mass, and we're talking maybe hundreds of millions of consumers seeing these things. So even a small percent of a conversion, a crumb of a percent, still turns into a handful of people that would engage, convert, make a purchase at the end of the day. So I think it's really at the early stages. It's how we craft, how we pivot and react and get the learnings from the data. We are founded on data. So the data is going to help fuel some of those things. And for the initial set of customers that we're talking about that hand-holding service, that gives us an opportunity to understand a little bit more about the brand, so that we can improve what the tailoring that we are providing there as well, to raise the bar of potential success that's there for it. So that's how I think about that particular question.
Nice. Jesse has a question. Jesse says, besides the consumer space, is there opportunity for B2B or enterprise to enterprise using your SaaS service in their marketing and sales?
Short answer, 100% yes. So our choice of use case today is really e-commerce. Technically, there is nothing that stops us from taking that engine, so to speak, and repurposing it in a different use case, a different context. So you talk about customer acquisition, lead generation for B2B. This is certainly primed to help and do that. All about marketing automations, but now it's from a different perspective. It's really about understanding, gathering the data, where these leads are spending their time, how they're doing their research, understanding what their buying process is. So I think there's certainly a use case there. It's just where do we fit that in the roadmap? And like I said, it's not a case for us. We want to boil the ocean. I think we should do one thing well today, get that right, be known for that, and then we can expand and look at those things. But certainly, we have made some notes, we have had some discussions around that, and those are areas where we could see opportunity for growth once we have gone through this initial early stage growth of the company.
Very good. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate putting it in the Q&A. Jesse says, did I miss the meaning of the name Tychon at the beginning? No, we didn't talk about that, but we can ask that now, Jesse. So Kevin, tell us about the name.
So Tychon is actually Greek for hit the mark, means success. We're in the space of digital marketing. We're in the space of reaching the right consumer at the right time with the right message. So I think it was all aligned in terms of when we were doing that research, a name that embodies what we do, embodies the ethos, the values of the founders themselves. So that's what Tychon means. Hit the mark, success.
I love it. Kim says success is her favorite word. I love it. So my final question is exit plan.
Yes.
What is
Um,
what is your exit plan?
Yeah, so I think given the nature and the nature of the business, I've been giving this some thought. I think realistically, this business is actually primed for an acquisition versus taking that route of an IPO. There's a significant number of players that could be aligned with us, even starting with our current partner, Shopify. So as an example, Shopify, they actually do invest into make strategic investments into third party partners such as ourselves. An example is Klaviyo. Klaviyo would have started taking a similar approach of SMS email engagement, started exclusively to Shopify, then expanded. As they grew, Shopify invested more capital into them. Klaviyo recently did an IPO, I think, end of last year, Q4, somewhere there, if I'm not mistaken. Multi-billion-dollar IPO there. So there are pathways that can help when I think about acquisition. Certainly, the big network players, everyone is leveraging some form of AI with our first mover advantage. If we are able to capture significant and maintain that lead, I think it makes us even more attractive at the end of the day. It may even spur the conversation sooner rather than later. So yeah, I think there are quite a few options, but we're not at that point just yet. But it's on the vision board, it's on the roadmap, and the decisions that we are making is really making sure that the business goes on that pathway for quick growth for that type of conversation and consideration.
Very good. Very good. Any final questions? Give you a few minutes to put your final questions in. I will give my final statement. First, I want to say thank you very much for coming and blessing us with this opportunity here at the 10K Project. What you and your team have built here is simply innovation at its best, right? I mean, you have managed to take something that almost all of the world does, right? Become a consumer, right? Or we are consumers of something. And you have not only simplified the process for it, you've actually added this component of fun to it, right? Because I'm gonna, I just being able to see what I want and say, oh, wait a minute, I wonder if they have, let me get that. I don't know how many times I've seen something as I was watching television or scrolling, and it's not even always the item in the that they're trying to sell. You see something else, like the sweater someone else has in the background, right? You're like, oh, I like that sweater, right? Like just to see how this can evolve. We didn't even talk about the fact that as I start to buy things and your anticipation of when I run out, right?
Yeah.
So then those are almost automatic sales, right? Those reminders of Tawana, it looks like you only have 2 applications of that pretty lipstick you bought the other, last month or 2 months ago left. Are you ready for a new one? And by the way, we've got some new colors since you shopped with us, right? Like I can see the, what that upsell possibly can look like for merchants to be able to really build and grow revenue. So like we didn't even talk about all the other really cool things about this that are going to exist just kind of organically, right? So I love that you are really taking something simple, something that people probably didn't realize even needed a little bit of a facelift, right? And you're making it this immersive experience. And you're doing so in lockstep with where technology is going, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you're not trying you're not ahead of it, right? You're right where you're supposed to be, but early enough with doing it that people will understand it. Because sometimes tech companies are so ahead that people don't get it, right? And then you miss the market because they don't get it. Like people are going to get this. They know this. They're waiting for this.
They're
And I love
waiting to hit the
helping
mark,
someone
right?
this way. Yeah, right. I love it.
Definitely.
I love it. I love what you're doing, Kevin.
Really
To
appreciate it.
anyone here that is interested in investing, we've been putting the link in the chat throughout the evening. We'll email it to you as well. Your goal is, or your assignment is simple here. It is to share this. Obviously, we want you to consider investing yourself. But more than anything else, Kevin needs as many eyes on this campaign as possible, right? We saw what number he's trying to get to, right? We saw the 5-year roadmap. We see, you know, what some we can only understand what some of the challenges he's going to face along the way, right? We saw the competitors, right? And we see how in a lot of ways he's ahead of them, right? But if they get a couple of $1 million before he gets a couple of $1 million, right? That tide could change very, very quickly. And so we need to help Kevin and his team at Tychon get the funding that they so desperately need. And the way we do that is by sharing this link. Again, obviously considering investing, but we're a small community, right? The goal is to get this to our broader communities so that they can see what this is and how it can really change the game. The minimum investment is currently $1,000. This is a safe note. The campaign page gives you all the details. Again, if you've got any follow-up questions, there is a contact us section on that campaign page. Kevin also in his, you want to pull up your slides again and show your QR code if anybody wants to scan that.
Yeah, so let me make sure I still have it. All right, share screen.
Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't yet captured the site, the link, you can go ahead and do that. It's in the chat, or you can go ahead and scan this QR code so that you can have it there. Again, all of you are on our email list. And so we'll also be emailing this out to you with the replay. So you'll also have the campaign link there. So don't worry, we'll make sure you get it. You will get that every week when we send you the newsletter. Kevin's campaign will be in there as long as he is raising funds. And I love
Awesome.
that we ended on this image again, right? Like this is the problem that's being solved, is that he's going to be able to put any image possible. So if you've got any item, and I can name quite a few that all of you guys sell, because I've seen you post things when we post things for the holidays. I mean, from, you know, luxury brands to everyday items. This is the new way that people are going to see your products and purchase from you. Ugly sweaters. That's right, Edward. Even the ugly sweater can lay here as people are shopping for their ugly sweater contest. You're absolutely right. I mean, literally, you'll be able to click on anything. I absolutely love this. This is great. Kevin, I am rooting for you and your team. This is innovation. This is absolutely cutting edge. And it is where shopping is going. And I love that you're doing this and you're ahead of the pack. I absolutely love that for you and your team. So often we're in the back and you're not there. And I want you to get the funding you need so that you can take off and make this a reality. But congratulations, brother. What are your final words for us here at the 10K Project community?
So I guess my final words, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. So really appreciate the opportunity to share what we've been doing, the fun stuff that we've been building here at Tychon, giving us an avenue to have a voice, really spread the word and the gospel of Tychon, and really just helping us in the journey at the end of the day. So for me, once it's, even if it's one share, someone new sees it for the first time, I think that's valuable, because I do get unsolicited emails. Folks discovered it, maybe someone spoke to them about it, shared the link, were talking about it at their organization, and they reach out for saying that there are ways that they can potentially help and partner and things like that. So you never know what it can lead to at the end of the day. So even if it's just that one share that I get, I think that is valuable and that's important. Certainly, anyone who is interested in understanding more about the investment opportunities, certainly do go to the page. We have provided a lot of information there, but also very happy to have a conversation, answer any more direct questions that you may have, thereby just contacting and reaching out us directly, and I'll be in touch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for coming here to the 10K. This is the kind of business that you see it happening around you, but you don't necessarily know the name of the company that's that is the genius behind it.
Yep.
We're going to see Tychon everywhere. We're going to see this technology everywhere. And for those of us who now had the opportunity to experience this presentation, we're going to know what it is we're seeing. We're going to know who the faces are behind it. And that's wonderful, because it gives us leverage. It gives us an advantage that we would normally not be. We would normally just be consumers. And now we get the opportunity to see this. And some of us will say, I bet you that's my investment, right? I bet that's the technology from Tychon. That's my company doing that.
Yeah.
And then there will be others of us that'll say, man, this is working wonderfully for my business as a merchant. I've experienced an increase to my sales, and I understand my customer base better, and all of those wonderful things. And so I love that you are helping so many people with this, right? This image right here came from someone creating it. And so the fact that content creators also get to benefit from this is wonderful. It truly is this ecosystem that you've created where everybody wins. That is the making of a good organization and a solid model and very thoughtful business plan. So congratulations in advance to you and your team. And thank you again for joining us this evening.
Just one last comment. I frequently use the expression that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity isn't. I think the 10K project is certainly addressing that problem and really going to be changing the narrative of that. So you do keep up the great work and keep these sessions going as well.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. We love you. We appreciate you. You know what to do next. Share, share, share. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.